Howard.
And check.
All right.
Good evening, everybody. It is a Monday, September 23rd. This is the meeting of the Providence Recreational Advisory Board. Madam Clerk, could you call the roll?
Chairman Simon,
Present.
Vice Chair Sanchez,
Present.
Councilman Vargas, Jenna Lafayette is absent, Kenneth Phillips is absent. We have 3 present and 2 absent. We have a quorum.
Excellent. Well, welcome back, everybody. Hope everybody had a good summer. We are here at Vincent Brown Recreation Center tonight. Really excited to be here and hear about all the great things that's going on here. So we're kicking things back off again. We took, for our last meeting, we're gonna take a couple of months off for the summer. Lots of exciting things I think that happened throughout the summer, which we'll hear about shortly. But we are picking things back off and getting things back in gear. And I think, we'll talk about our schedule, we'll be a little bit later on, but, getting things back going on a monthly basis for the winter, because lots of important things are coming up in the rec department. We have a pretty full agenda tonight, so we will dive right into it and start off. We have as our guest tonight, Director Grace Perlin-Perry, who is the director of the Vincent Brown Rec Center tonight, and if others that are here from the center.
Assistant Director Linda Lassiter.
And Assistant Director.
Hello, guys.
Hello. Excellent. And we also have
Ceci Granados, Director of the Elmwood Community Center.
Awesome. Well, excited to be here tonight. And before we get started, we had the chance to tour the facility earlier. Some good upgrades that came here in terms of flooring and some of the other things that are being addressed. So really exciting stuff going on here at Vincent Brown. And Director Perry, we're excited to hear from you about everything that's going on here at Vincent Brown.
Yes, good. So.
And I can start off by saying on behalf of the advisory board, we'll get more into this later, but thank you guys for what you do on a daily basis. You guys we say this to all the rec centers and directors that we go around to, but it's absolutely true that you guys really are touching the lives of our kids in the city every single day. And I think we as a board think that the recreation department is the most important department in the city. We strongly believe that, and the work that you guys are doing is amazing. So thank you guys for what you do every day in this building. Andrew.
Thank you. You're welcome.
Yeah.
Thank you. All right, well, I'll just start you off just with this portion of it, just so we can. Whoops, sorry. So the agenda for the presentation today. So we're going to do Vincent Brown, the facility, which you guys just toured, the programming, and then we'll get into summer programming and activities. Fall sports and activities, then the department updates, and then any future agenda items that you guys have on Ask About, and then public comment, obviously. So we'll start off with Herlin and Linda, and we'll talk about Vincent Brown. So what's that, Vincent Brown?
Yeah, so obviously you've met me, I'm Perlin-Perry, director. And this job means a lot to me because I came here as a child, so I grew up right down the street on Camp Street, 206 Camp Street. So this means a lot to me. So basically at Vincent Brown, what we try to do is engage as much community youth as possible. And along with the community youth, we try to partner up with people that is willing to give back to the community, give back to the youth. Because like we said, the youth obviously is our future. So that's big for me. Everything basically I do in life is about the youth. So I've been coaching Mount Hope Cowboys for 20 years now. That's Mount Hope. It's Mount Hope community based, but a lot of kids from out of Providence that participate in our Part 1 of football. Over here, our home field is at Hope High School, and our practice field is down at Peter Pan bus station. So Vincent Brown, Mount Hope Cowboys go hand in hand, a lot of the same kids. So just giving back to community, taking the kids and just giving them something to do to keep them off the streets. We know where free time could become bad time. So that's really what we kind of model ourselves after. We got a bunch of programs. So our biggest time of the year, as you know, or might not know, is summer program, summer camp, them 7 weeks. just the busiest, you get the most kids in and out the building, meeting new parents, so program along with that, like you have your summer program that the rec puts forward, and then here we give our own programming, so like we have skills and drills, that's co-ed, so we got a couple, people on staff that coach high school basketball, Phil Goddard and, Clarence Cooper. They are coaching at the high school level, so they'll take the kids that want to do basketball skills and drills. They'll keep them here in the gym, and then I'll take the kids along with some staff. We got a bunch of high school kids that play high school football at Hope High School, LaSalle Academy, St. Raphael's Academy, that all work for us during the summer job opportunity. And we'll go take the football kids and over and train. And then we got some of our other staff, female staff, that do like dance and stuff with the kids that don't want to participate in athletics. So we try to build our own programming within the summer program. So after you got your summer program, so we'll get into like fall program. Fall programs, like falls is total opposite from summer. Summer's so far upbeat, fall's like downbeat. So we're actually planning for recreation our recreation winter basketball league that starts in January. So we'll start signing the kids up, we'll get them practicing, we'll get all the teams together, boys and girls. So I think we was maybe one of the only recreation centers, I'm not too sure on the numbers, that had all 6 teams. So 10 new girls, 12 new girls, 14 new girls, and the same thing on the boys' side. So my big thing when I came in is I try to get the girls involved a lot more into whether it's sports or arts and crafts, anything like that. So bunch of good stuff. We have our after school program that comes with the fall, that some kids, we get 2 van fulls from Martin Luther King. That's right down the street. So they'll come in here, they'll be fed a snack, homework help. We have some volunteers for that, some former Providence school teachers that help us out with that. So good stuff with that. So, all around, and then we'll have our banquets, just praising the kids and stuff like that. So good stuff going on with that. If you want to add anything, you could add anything like that.
As far as for the summer program, we kept the kids really busy with a lot of field trips and programs. We did the baking club back here. They got to do a hands-on bake. We did the garden club in the back, and we also have a garden down at Fox Point. They have the garden down at Billy Taylor. So the kids get to hand on, they get to plant. Even in the back right now, we have extra seeds where the kids got to plant the collard greens, a couple of onions, water the plants. So while we have the cookouts in the summer, they get to tend to the garden also. We did a lot of field trips, so we took them down to the Children's Museum. The kids had a lot of fun. We did kayaking. We started a fishing program this summer. So we went down to Slater. The kids got to hands-on fishing. Even I learned a lot. I got to take some fish off the hooks, learn how to do bait. It was a lot of fun.
So no one's gonna talk about the food? No? Okay.
All
right.
We had good cookouts every weekend. We did a good cookout for our food assistant director. We had a JR day. Hands-on, we gave book bags back for the kids also. It was a very nice day. And for the fall, we're trying to get more programs, like you said, into the rec. So how we have the dance studio coming in, we're gonna try to get some baton lessons with some of the girls. Crocheting, we wanna try to get that in hand this winter. And still basketball, so we just got our rosters finalized, so we can try to get practice going, get the hands on balls, get the kids going. Finalizing our bowling team. Our rosters will be submitted by this week, get the kids out every Saturday, bowling. Trying to keep them as busy as possible, like Erwin said.
So, we as a board are here really to support you guys in the work that you do. So, we ask this a lot of rec centers. What do you feel like the big needs are here? Are there things that you could do, or, resources weren't an option? That's never the case, obviously, but if they weren't, for whatever reason, what are the types of things that you guys feel like you need here to provide better programming, better opportunities?
I just think the more like technical we could get, like like more computers, laptops, because everything with the kids is just always on like a blackboard, like a system that the schools use. So we have like 3 computers in there, but say we'll get like maybe 40, 50, 60 kids that come in between from Martin Luther King and Nathan Bishop Middle School and Hope High School. And just to have 3 computers, so you kind of gotta, it's almost like you're like speeding them up, like, all right, you got 15 minutes, but obviously you know that you can't get all your work done in 15 minutes. So we get like more support like that, then I think that's our biggest thing, because I'm big on like the student portion of it. Like I know rec center's about athletics and a bunch of other stuff, but I always preach student athlete first, so we could get more stuff like that to where we're not, all right, 15 minutes, now the next group, 15 minutes. And they might finish our assignment, and most of the times they don't finish our assignment, but just to be fair to all the kids who have homework to do, you know, we kind of like give it in time slots of 15 minutes.
There's also other things, I mean, I would
Yeah.
just say, you've been, pretty advocating for a gym floor,
Gym
trying to get the gym floor done. Some of the other things that are gonna be with CIP improvements, and he does a good job communicating with, Councilwoman Anderbaugh, so they collaborated on the floor, to be able to get that done and some other work.
Yeah, I also want to acknowledge that Councilwoman Anderson had stopped in earlier. She was able to stay for the phone meeting, but a huge supporter of this rec center and been fantastic. So, yeah.
And they've been discussing like HVAC,
Yeah,
improvements, and then, you wanna talk about the splash pad and playground improvements
Yeah.
that you guys have
yeah.
discussed?
Before you guys move on, when's the last time the gym floor was replaced?
It was like they sanded and put polyurethane once a year in January. January, December, right before our season starts, but a couple things on the gym floor, I'm glad you mentioned that, is that we have no AC in this building. So in the summer, the gym floor sweats, so the wood will sweat, and it's basically like you poured like gallons of water on the floor. So a lot of the time, we're always out the building, because once the temperature heats up in the building, it's just like you poured water in it. So a safety hazard, because when they do the floors in January, that's right in the mix of our winter season. So once the salt from the parking lot gets on the floor, it just eats right through the wax. And obviously the kids have to use a change of shoes, but during the basketball game, the parents come in, and that's how you get your floor kind of messed up. So I'm a big, like, I try to advocate, can we redo the floor, and to no success, but we got the rest of the thing done. But gym floor is very important, at least until we get the HVAC system there. Splash pads, so Wayne control of 2 splash pads, Billy Taylor Park and Fox Point Park. So, we teamed up with P3 to do some things, painting, and the city did new fencing and stuff around the parks, and added a couple new devices, so that was great as well.
Director Grace, how many of our rec centers have HVAC systems?
1, 2, 3, and almost 4.
And is it the plan to, with CIP and others, to get to a point where all of them will have HVAC in them?
Yeah, so we have a plan that we know of like 3 of them already. So Jocelyn, Davy Lopes, and Elm Community Center kind of already has it in there. Rogers is just like a condenser away and converting their existing forced air system. There's plans for here that they've been talking about on CIP, and then Battistini just got done. It didn't have, so that's actually good. That was with the Pleasant View renovation. Kennedy is an older school, so that's gonna have to be like with the schools, we won't have as much control over there.
But there is a plan for reconstruction.
Yes, yeah, and that's what the school, yeah. And then other schools will be addressed, like the other schools that will be attached, like Rollins. So that would be like a school collaborative project as well for when that happens, which is weird because half that building does have HVAC and the rec side doesn't. So like that's something that we have to obviously look at. So yeah, so the plan is there. Just obviously time, when that stuff will get done.
And Director Perry, you explained this to us a little bit, but I think it'd be helpful for everybody to hear. The relationship with the YMCA next door, can you tell us a little bit about how that works?
Yeah, so I've been director here for about 3.5 years. So when I started off as assistant director over 3.5 years ago, there was a dispute going on between the city and the YMCA about, parking lot fees like snow removal, landscaping fees, dumpster fees, so the bill had ran itself upward towards 40 grand or something like that. And so they kind of like cut off ties with us, and then in effect, like the relationship, friendship was ended. So there's a door in the hallway that goes right into the Y, and obviously comes right into here. So they kept theirs both there and this, and then when a new director, Mike Rollins, took over, I kind of know from around the community, we talked, and was like, we're gonna let the people who's in charge of handling all of that, handle that, but we open back up the relations between the YMCA and the rec. So they do like pickleball and here in the morning, because we don't open till 3 p.m. So they do their pickleball and stuff like that. And then in turn, in the summer, they gave us a bunch of sessions, everyday sessions in the pool for the younger kids. They gave us free swim lessons, and they offer swim lessons to the kids year round. All we gotta do is just fill out a waiver, and so the relationship is going really well.
And we actually have a meeting coming up in the next 2 weeks, because obviously the YMCA has a new CEO. And so we're meeting with Karen pretty soon as with the city to begin those talks, specifically like outside in the shared space, but also what it's gonna look like for program.
And you know, Director, you were one of the, I mean, you talked about your volunteer program here.
Yeah.
Can you tell us a little bit more about that? Because we haven't heard really that as much in some of the other centers, and so anxious to hear more about your volunteer program, how you guys do volunteers to coach and help out with your stuff.
Huh?
The one with the-
You can talk, and then I'll finish up with it.
I know for our after school program, we have, like you said, old teachers that was, in the public school department, and we had a couple of students come down from Brown University. They tutored a couple of older high school kids. In the summertime, we gave, the 13-year-olds the opportunity to volunteer with some of the kids for the summer program, so they can have a job opportunity for next year. That's basically what I'm going to-
Volunteer coaches, or is that?
Yeah, so all of our coaches, all of our coaches for the 6 basketball teams, most of them are volunteers, so they'll come in and they just about giving back, so they'll coach the girls up, they'll coach the boys up, and they come and put in extra work, like even when there's not practice, like they bring their own like devices and stuff, like we have a shooting machine that was donated towards, like when you shoot the ball in a basket, it just passes it right back to you.
Yeah.
So just a bunch of community people around that just come and give back. Obviously, they do play with the office, their BCIs and stuff, and on Saturdays, and from more than open stuff, get them in together.
And we'll talk about it later, but as we introduce programs, we're starting to introduce like the volunteer signups for it as well. We did that with the soccer program in the spring. So that was like the first way we like officially had it tied to a program. So we're gonna continue to do that as well.
Recognize that board member Jenna Lafayette just arrived. Well, Perlin and Linda, thank you again for all that you guys do. Does anybody have any other questions for Perlin or Linda before we move on to other agenda items or comments in general? I would just once again say thank you on behalf of the board and the city for all you guys do every day. It's God's work. It's you guys are amazing, and so we're so appreciative of you guys, especially the kids. Yeah,
Thank you much.
keep up the good work.
Yes, sir.
And thanks for having us here tonight too. I know this is, not easy to plan this stuff. You have a million things going on. So
Yeah, no, thanks for coming and thanks for highlighting our rec, and thanks for being open ears to, our needs and the kids' needs, basically, trying to make it a better, safer place for the children every day. So that's much appreciated. Thank you for your time for playing it. Thank you, all of you. Thank you.
All right, we'll turn it over to Director Grace to give us a review. A lot that went on this summer from all accounts. It seems like it was a great summer, successful. A lot of great programming out there, and great stories around the city. So Director, will turn it over to you to give a review of everything that happened over the summer. What we missed?
One of the highlights, was the beginning of our community engagement. Ceci Granados is the director of the Elmwood Community Center. But it's a place and a title and a theory, I guess, and that's where a lot of our community engagement and community collaboration is going to come from. So we spent a lot of time in the summer exploring like what that's going to look like. And one of the immediate impacts is we'll get into like what her role has been and what she will be doing. One of the immediate impacts was a program that we started last year, municipal exploration, where we introduce some of the different departments in the city to the kids in terms of workforce exploration and workforce development, so that you can see some of the positions in the city and the community. And I think Linda mentioned it, where, you know, you had some 13-year-olds in between like 12 and 14 that were volunteering to kind of work in the camps. Well, you can also get exposed to other careers and pathways, and we're going to expand upon that. But what happened this summer is that we went beyond just like your DPWs, police and fire, and we had a few new departments that participated. So in here, actually at Vincent Brown, we had planning and development come, and the kids were able to develop a city plan. And they got to talk to Tim Shea and a couple of folks from the planning department, and like how that actually gets done and what a city plan is. And that was really cool just to kind of hear their thoughts and, you know, and I don't think they ever knew that someone does that for a living, right? And so that was kind of cool to introduce. We had sustainability come and speak to them and talk to them about resilience and some of the resilience projects, the resilience hub, you know, and some of the green projects around the city and some of the legislation that's been introduced and why we have to have solar energy and wind and reusable energy and backup power. And they talked to the kids. They did that at West End, so that was really cool. We brought the kids over to Pima, and so they got to learn about the Providence Emergency Management Agency and how they help with the city. And met the director and a few folks there, toured the building, got to see some of the equipment, got to see, you know, the room that, you know, if there is a real emergency, where everybody goes and where they're assigned. And so that was pretty cool to be able to see. We hadn't done that before. We had the Department of Diversity, Equity, Inclusion, and Belonging speak about, actually I wasn't there for that. So what were they talking about for D? That was at Zupolo, right?
Yeah, so we're just doing like a focus group activity. We were like in a round table, just discussing different identities and different intersectionalities of those identities and how they all come together, but also talking about what the D department does for the city and what it essentially is and how kids can be involved in that.
So that was really cool. That was the first time we brought them to the Museum of Natural History. Most kids have been there before, but not through workforce development and understanding like what they do for a career there. So they did that with the planetarium. Providence
Also
Fire.
undergoing some significant renovations.
Yeah. Yeah. Providence Fire.
Hidden gem in Providence, for anybody that's never been to a museum, that it really is. It's an awesome spot. Like
Some cool stuff in the
not
basement.
enough people know about. Yeah.
If you ever get a VIP tour, there's some cool stuff in the basement.
Yeah.
Providence Fire did a really good job again. They actually, from last year, it was just like the kids kind of interacting with them and kind of going in the trucks. This year, they had a presentation and they talked about the program at Central High School that's happening that introduces high school kids to you know, being a firefighter or an EMT. And then one of the coolest opportunities was with our IFC, the soccer team that's in that will be in Pawtucket. But we went and saw every position, well, the most important positions that it takes to be in like sports management. So they got to tour the entire facility and meet all the folks that are doing that behind the scenes. And that was really cool. And then stayed for the game. And then a bunch of the kids got to actually like work the game. So it was pretty cool. So that kind of stuff was something that we expanded this year. Obviously, you know, we continued our collaboration with P3 and we're expanding that. They're expanding their partnership with arts and culture, as well as the Parks Department, to include more like makerspace in the programming that we have for summer. So that's actually really great. We still had all our garden clubs, baking clubs, we had art clubs, and then bunch of field trips this year, right? So the kayaking, boat tours, design studios at Brown, Children's Museum, skateboarding, PPAC, like we said, Museum of Natural History, Marine Biology Center, and then we also were able to do our summer basketball program for adults. That went really well in 2 locations. So that was at Rogers and at West End. And so we had a small amount of time to be able to put that together. We're able to fill the teams, and we're going to be able to expand that next year. So it was just a really, really busy summer, and we employed our first intern that was for data and data collection. So they work with David, it's over here. His name is Quincy Griffin. He's currently at the University of North Carolina.
Did a great job.
And yeah, and so he kind of started putting our information into dashboards so that we would be able to pull that information and be able to make decisions. So that was something new. So it was just a lot that happened during the summer. So it was so it was pretty cool. I don't know if I can play the video, but before it's even there. But
Do you have a video?
I don't. Do we have a video, David?
Sure.
I can play at that. If you send it to me, I'll pull it up back afterwards. So we started, obviously putting in some of our data, for summer. And so we're looking at, our average campers per day in the summer. We'll talk about like what next steps are for this, but just to kind of give you the information. Our average pool attendance.
I'm sorry, George, can you go back one time? I'm having a hard time seeing because it's in white. So that is it.
Oh, wow, that looks way different. I can read it to you.
Is it 81?
61. So this is the average campers per day.
Yeah.
That attended each camp. So 61, 57, 57, 57, 52, 46, 42, 41.
And is that
39,
across the
37.
entire city?
That's each individual center.
Each individual?
Yeah, so it starts with
Oh,
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
sorry, I can't see any.
starts with Igliozzi,
Got it.
and typically, like the ones that you see that have the higher number, they actually do take more kids because they have more space, and so that's typically how that happens.
And is that sort of typical numbers compared year to year over year, or is that? Where is
It's
there-
since I've been here, kind of, it's kind of average, but there's a reason for that, and that like we're discussing. So what you really want to see is like, and there's another slide, is enrollment versus like the attendance rate. You kind of see that. Yeah. So that's really what you want to see. But before that, pool attendance, so Zucolo 183 per day, right? People went to the pool.
I
So
have to stop right here really quick and just say that, I'm not sure if you're gonna talk about it after, but, I went to the citywide swim meet. And it is something that everybody should go to. It's really awesome. It was a lot of fun.
yeah, and that's something that we do. So, in talking with the pools and looking at the data, 2 things that we added this year were adult swims, but more of an official program. So we did it at 2 locations, and then swim lessons. So that was added this summer, and that was for anybody that could just sign up and come in the morning, and that was actually pretty successful. Oh, we still had senior splash. Yeah, we had senior splash pads. So getting into like our water park attendance. Chad Brown struggled this year for many reasons with the splash pad. It wasn't like open at the beginning, needs some renovations, but we saw some good attendance and a lot of our water parks, but we had a lot of rain days too. So we did close them a lot, and we had a lot of extended days. So it kind of like spiked in areas, like depending on what was happening with the weather. Anytime you see any lightning, anytime you see
Yeah.
like, and it's hard, it's a tough call. We have to make the call by like 11, so people don't, go to work and have to come back. So, but it was generally like we had a lot of activity at our water parks this year. And this is kind of what you want to see. It's kind of the attendance rates. So overall average campers per day was 45. And the overall attendance rate was 63%. So that was 2023. So we were down in 2024. We also had an interesting like development where we had a lot of heat days. And what we noticed on those days is that we did get a lot of kids that did not come. There was no HVAC in the
Because
gyms.
there's no air
Yeah, so like, and it was something that was told to us like all summer. On those days, you could, I mean, I would walk in and it'd be like 20 kids. And on a nice, cool day, like, be full.
How about the centers that have HVAC though? Do they get a higher attendance rate most of them on the heat days?
Yeah, so depending on what's around, so like, here's what's interesting, depending on your campus, and I'll let you chime in a second. Like West End is always gonna have a good attendance rate. It's just the way the campus is set up. So you have a gym, but then they have a pool right there. Then they have a splash pad right there. They have a park right there. They have a field right there. And so it makes it easier to be able to do some of those things. Based on just the logistics of that campus. So it always helps out to have something like that. So centers with pools would do a little, better if they're right next to them. So it always helps out.
Yeah, and what affected us too was not only the hot days, because they're not gonna send them on the hot days, because they know we have no air conditioning, and also on the rainy days.
Yeah.
So the rainy days, they know that we have to stay in the building, but even though it's rainy outside, it's super muggy in here. So
Yeah.
you'll see our attendance, I think we probably enrolled maybe somewhere from 65 to 70 kids. But on the rain days as well, you'll see your attendance drop really low because the parents know they gotta stay in the building, which there's no air conditioning or, so.
The HVAC's really hard. That has to be a priority.
Mhm. Yeah.
And do we cap enrollment? What are our enrollments? When we have signups, there's a certain amount of kids.
Yes.
Is it dependent on the size of the
Yeah.
facility or?
Yes, size of the facility,
Okay.
that, so again, you can't have the same amount at Kennedy that you do here, right?
Right.
There's a gym. Yeah, so they have a gym, there's at least 2 other rooms, a backyard here, and so you can have more, kids here, so I
Did
think.
you reach your cap for enrollment?
Yeah, we actually,
Yeah.
we went over,
Trying to see if I had it,
extended out of this.
but, we kind of did, year over year, so I think. If you look at it, it's like, we actually added more kids this year.
Yeah.
To some places, so an average of 78 versus 71 last year, so we try to add more spaces and, have more activity, so. We'll kind of talk about in like next steps, like, I can't get into everything, but some plans and some things we're gonna do for summer enrollment next year. To try to make sure that we can increase that, average attendance rate every day. It's not all weather, I would say, right? Like it's also value and commitment that we can kind of change and look into to try to give more opportunity. So we're gonna look at that as well.
I say one
And
thing.
if you get, I've asked this question before in other programs, but if you get a person who doesn't show up at all.
Yeah.
Do you then go to a sort of waiting list, backup list for
Yeah.
kids? Is
Yeah.
that,
Yes,
so we're not like, if a person signs up and never shows up after the first 3, 4, 5 days, we then say. We're not gonna hold the spot for that kid the whole summer if they're not gonna show up, right? Okay.
yeah, so in the beginning, they all like pay and sign up and their spot solidified, and then if you see kids consistently not coming, so we took like a backup list, we had like probably like 28 people on a backup list, so now we could call the first 2 or 3
Yeah.
to be like, okay, these guys could come through the process, and then your kid could come to camp, so.
Good.
Yeah.
What's your enrollment cap at?
So each center got different enrollment, so we capped ours. I wanted to cap mines at 65, but I went to 71. So it's just like you said, based on size and this, but we're always outside. But the thing is, why we cap it is you don't want to get caught on that rainy day. You enrolled 90 kids and now all 90 are here, they're stuck inside. So that's why we kind of cap it where we cap it.
And we talked last year, like there's new legislation that got introduced about like what a camp is and how it's defined, and then the ratio. So it has to be a 1 to 15 ratio. So that also goes into like the seasonal budget, how many employees you can have. So in the event that everyone shows up, you also have to be properly staffed. So
Yeah.
Director, would you say most, if not all, rec centers were pretty at capacity in terms of summer enrollment?
enrolled, yeah. Yes. Attended, no.
Right.
So we always fill.
Right.
I can tell you this, it's not hard to fill the camps at all.
Yeah, so online, 30 spots online were in an hour.
Yeah, see, that's why it's really important, I think, to keep, I know you guys are doing it, but I like to keep double down on this, every opportunity that we have, that if a child does not show up, then we're not holding back another child.
Right.
And those resources are taking that spot.
Yeah.
Yeah, and my team and even, talking, so like the main office team and even talking with the directors that are out there, like we all know that it's a problem. And so we actually have capacity to do some things about it now and kind of some support to just do things a little bit differently.
Yeah.
And the differences are gonna be hopefully more opportunity and more attended camps, right? So that's really the goal. So,
Well, I gotta give you a big kudos for keeping track of all the data we're keeping track of, because it helps you obviously make much better informed decisions. So this is excellent. I think very helpful for us to take a look at as a group. So
Last year we talked about demand. I mean, do you think twice as much? Like if you had the wait list and you had 71, were there 140 kids that wanted to do it, or do we have any idea what the demand was?
Yeah,
I haven't been measuring, I can't give you an exact number. I haven't
You
been
don't know the
measuring,
wait list.
and I can. David, do you think that's something that we could pull, like, right?
wait, what's it?
And yeah, so we can do that. I just haven't put it into the dashboard. So yeah, we can definitely get that. I guess and this is not to say that it's not an important number. It's always a lot. So like, we don't have the issue of like enrollment. And so, like last year when we were at Eat, Play, Learn, most of our spots were sold out in 15 minutes.
Yeah.
So it's, but then it's the way that process is, are we looking at, because it's a valuable camp, like we do a lot, right? But it also allows folks to kind of put us in kind of second place because we're not putting the value of it in terms of the cost. So we're kind of devaluing our own camp, if that makes sense. And so, for example, with the basketball program,
and the camp costs what, the $5?
$5 per week, so $35 for the summer. And it goes from, you can drop it as early as 7:30 and pick up at 5:30. So it's like a long day, it's a lot of opportunity, but when we were doing the summer basketball program, we had a meeting and we talked about, originally I was gonna have it for free. And then someone brought up the point, they were like, well, if we do that, no one's gonna commit. So it's something that we have to think about because we wanna make sure that we have, a lot of people that are attending them every day too.
Yeah, it's a delicate balance. Obviously, you want the dedication. Obviously, you want to be able to help, the families, a child, and they don't be able to afford a higher price. So,
Right.
You guys can think about that and find the right balance. But $5 a week is a pretty good deal.
I'm like, listen. Man.
But, well, hats off to you. Yeah. Councilwoman?
Yeah, $35 is a very good deal, and also, so you have 5 children, imagine, so you have to calculate it because of the kids.
Yeah.
So many, person, for example, for me, I have 4 kids, so I have to pay $35 for each one.
Yeah.
So this is that,
Yeah.
stress a little bit, it will
Yeah.
help us, because the program is excellent.
Yeah, it's a delicate balance for sure.
Mhm.
But yeah, and maybe there's other ways to get the, attendance numbers up higher, but, Director Grace, I know you're thinking about that, so.
Yeah.
To hear more about it in the future.
Yeah, that's gonna be a very delicate discussion we have to have.
And how about the regular, the 1 week camps, like sports camps and all that stuff, how's that on?
They were all filled, that's at PCTA. So like that actually does sometimes contribute to the attendance.
I was gonna say.
Because they do go to both, so like they'll do a week and be away, so.
There were a lot of kids who do like.
Yeah.
Or different
Mhm.
camps.
Yeah.
They also have all.
Yeah, because you
And
can, like,
are they required to tell you guys ahead of time, like, I'm not gonna be there for this week, or you guys find out?
they tell us, but it's also like, it's
Thanks
not
for
like
letting
you're
us know.
abandoning the camp.
Yeah.
You're going to
No, I
like the
know.
sports camp for 1 week and then you come back, so that actually contributes. So,
Yeah, so that,
yeah.
yeah.
It's only 1 week. So, and then we
Yeah,
have 5
yeah.
weeks, so we know what I mean, then that.
Yeah,
Right, and some of them do multiple camps, so you got basketball
yeah.
camp, then you got football camp, so you could have, so like the attendance numbers.
I'm right in the thick of it.
Yeah, so you could
Yeah.
have the, yeah, you could have the
Like campus,
attendance
like-
numbers, and then you got, say we got 15 kids over there from our 71 at basketball camp. Then the next week, you got 17 kids at football camp.
Yeah.
So that really hits your day camp numbers.
Yeah.
Like from our day camp, because they're over there in the sports camp, so.
Yeah, yeah.
Is the timing of the camps the exact same?
It's during the same session, so like July 1st to like August 17th, right, for example. So we have to fit them all in during that time, because that's when we have, you know, the employees, and that's when we have the space to be able to do it, so.
Same, I think time of day you're talking
Yeah,
about.
Oh, yeah, time of day, yeah.
So same time.
Well, I would just say congratulations on what seems like a very successful summer, and, you know, again, kudos to your team to put together another great summer of programming. There's always gonna be tweaks on things to work out, and, you know, I trust you guys. I'll just say again, the data and the information that you are tracking now and providing, I'm not sure if the rec department ever did that, I'm not sure if we did prior year.
We collected it, I'm not sure it was organized this way,
Yeah.
so there was available information, just. Oh, so all right, so he said it was. I'll be trying to get.
So,
It's funny.
well done to you. Because it's important, because if you're trying to make the case for more resources, that's the type of stuff that helps us help you guys get more resources, so. But congratulations on a successful summer. Does anybody have any other questions or comments on summer program before we move into plans for the fall winter, Councilwoman?
I want to say thank you, because there's so many young kids keep working on the time, so putting a lot of emphasis, and also doing great job. And so, you know, keep the kids safe, you know, keep an eye, so, because the program is good, because you know, how the staff good, so everything is go down. For me, and see the recreation and the kids go, I see someone like is walking too fast to get in there to, oh my God, I have to make some little money to buy some shoes or something, you know, I hear it.
Yeah.
So this is great program, for not for only for the kids, you know, for the youngest kid came working a little hours.
Yeah, we didn't even talk about this, so we didn't talk about the jobs component.
Oh,
That's a
okay.
big deal. Yeah, no, it's right. And we employ how many counselors this summer?
So it's anywhere from 380 to 400, depending, like not directly in camp, but like around the city too.
Yeah, that's.
So you usually say around 400 kids that we employ.
Yeah.
I think I was gonna touch on that portion of like the employment portion of it as well, because we have some things in the fall. But I hope everyone's following us on Instagram, right? Hope we are, okay? So that you saw myself and Councilman Sanchez, because he came to our IFC event and actually helped us do that, right? So we're looking to do that more too, and just like work with folks to do that. We didn't talk about the golf tournament, but I know that just happened, and that was really cool. You know, moving to 2 sessions, we, you know, raised just under 65,000, right? So it was like a really good event to have, and like the way we did it this year was like really cool online registration and you know, working with sponsors. So we had like a tournament sponsors, some folks gave a significant amount of money. The rec advisory board contributed. Tony, you were instrumental, like that was amazing. I felt like we were getting even like every other week. Like Tony's like, do this now. And it was great. It was like
A softer touch.
yeah, it was great energy. Like, you don't love the kids, no.
To raise money.
So it was pretty good, and you know, all the council events and all the collaboration. Council did a great job this year of like collaborating with rec on some of the summer events and cookouts in the area. So just a lot of good things that happened in the summer.
Yeah, I do want to publicly say thank you to our sponsors, for anybody who's listening, and director, we should think about maybe like, you know, some sort of like a get together of sponsors maybe at some point. Hope they'll keep contributing year after year. But thank you to our sponsors who stepped up, and thank you to everybody here who stepped up to participate as well. It was obviously very successful. I think that we raised the most money that we ever have for the golf tournament, and it all goes directly to recreation programming. So
and there's another thing too, I was told by finance, we added the most we ever had to the rec support fund last year, so that was, just kind of doing something like, even like Hurling's really good, going out there hustling, getting people to come in, use facilities and, you know, do that, so it, you know, it helps, so we're able to, you know, do some things that we wouldn't otherwise be able to afford to do, so. And just by asking, right, so that was it was asking more and providing the opportunity, so, you know, some of these guys have done a really good job of kind of engaging the community and getting support. And at the very least, just asking, so.
Keep up the good work, guys. So after the success of the summer program, next topic of conversation is gonna be preparing for fall and winter, which is another very busy time. So, Director, do you want to talk about some of the programming that we're offering that's new and some of the stuff that we're looking at and how we're looking to expand and get things more organized this year?
Yeah, so, you know, typically our seasons were, you know, summer and then a little dip in fall and then winter and then a little dip in spring, and we're trying to stay, you know, pretty steady. So, I think you heard Linda talk about like her rosters, right? Like for, you know, different teams, and it's just getting people interested in or knowing that leagues are coming up. So we started doing that. So we had folks engaging the summer kids and saying, hey, we have this league coming up, we have this league coming up, just make sure that you know, right? And so that was intentional, and that was early, and that led into some programming that we were able to do. So we're bringing back a league that existed in Department of Recreation before, which is our bowling league. So that's going to be starting on October 5th. It's at Lang's, and it's for 12 and under and 10 and under. It's co-ed, and we're doing 4 youth per team with 2 alternates. But they get to go and bowl. They get fed. They learn the game, and then we're trying to introduce like a STEM component of it. Because I have a friend that's like actually a bowler. I don't know if you know any professional bowlers, but I do, just weird, but he also works for Raytheon, and he's been like trying to get some things done. So we're working on a program to see if we can tie it in, but can't promise I've actually figured it out yet. But so that's a new league, and that's really exciting because what I heard, like when I was talking about what we should be doing or what programs to bring back, a lot of people got excited when they said bowling league. So I haven't seen it, but like we're doing it. So so that'll be one.
Linda's been very excited.
I actually do that same league, my father bowled and then we bowled.
That's great.
Yep. So so that's gonna be
So
cool.
how's enrollment going for that? Is it
I think we're done. Yeah, we're done with enrollment.
oh, it's already.
Yeah, we're just now it's just time to go.
Did we cap that or what? Is there a cap?
Yeah, we have a certain amount that we could do, obviously based on funding, but it's also you know, I think you'd have to do like 2 locations, and so it's capped based on a little bit of funding, but also like the bowling alleys. They do a lot of these events. I don't know if anyone's like a real bowling enthusiast, but apparently like we're in the prime like bowling league time right now. And so it's just, there's not a lot of slots and there's not a lot of availability. So we were able to, you know, squeeze in here to Lanes. And we have somebody that works there, kind of runs the league that we outsource, that helps us do that. Actually keep stats and like everything. So it's actually pretty cool. Yeah, cool. Yeah, so that's going to be happening. And then the Youth Development League is up next, which is formerly known as the Biddy League. We are switching the Biddy
Hats
League.
off for changing up.
I mean, yeah.
I don't know if it's a sensitive topic or not, but I think.
It was, but it's you know, but it really speaks to like what the league should be now, like developing these skills. As a longtime basketball coach, I don't care how young they were, but you know, carrying the ball like a football down the court without dribbling, you know, always gave me, you know, cause for concern. But that's why we're going to develop it more. So what we're doing is, you know, we're keeping the 5, 6, and the 7, 8-year-old division, but the league will be at West End this year. And that gives us the opportunity to run 2 simultaneous courts, more kids, and also what we're going to be doing is we're going to be doing 2 developmental sessions during the week, one at Kennedy and one at West End. So any kid can go that's in the league, go work on their skills and drills, and then go and compete on Saturday. So that's a really good change. And also more parents can come and be able to view the games, parking available. So there's a lot of things logistically, but also just for more kids to be able to participate. So we made that change. So game times will be 10 a.m., 10:45, 11:30, and 12:15. So 4 games on a Saturday, and we're not making it center specific. So it's not a Vincent Brown league. It's going to be a pool of kids, and we'll make the teams, and they're going to work on their development more than they are the competition.
So that's great. It's obviously a change from the way we've previously done it. I know it's always at Kennedy. All the games are always at Kennedy, and there were individual practices at the different rec centers. And I'm glad that you separated out between 5 and 6 and 7 and 8. If I remember correctly, I think it was 5 to 8-year-olds that were part of the video. It was all one, and that's a big age. The big age difference between a 5-year-old and an 8-year-old. So I commend you guys for doing that, figuring out the way to do that. So I think that's actually a big age difference. Like when my son played in the league, there were definitely like kids. He started, I think, at 6, and there was the big difference between a 6-year-old and a 8-year-old on the court. So I think that's actually awesome. Now on the Saturdays, while they're not coming from different centers, will they always have the same team, I'm assuming, and the same coach?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's going to be the same, and so that's where we're actually looking for volunteers as well.
Got it.
So we have a volunteer sign-up sheet that's going to be going out pretty soon. The registration for the league is already up, so people have already been inquiring and signing up. So we're good there on all of our socials. We updated like the link, so the link's in bio now, so you can click on that and from our social media, go to our website. So we're looking to make sure and go into a recreation center to be able to sign up.
So on the social media stuff, obviously that's all great. How are we pushing the links out there, like to the neighborhood groups? I think of like the Southside Neighborhood Association, the West Broadway Neighborhood Association. There's like the Elmhurst Facebook neighborhood group, Mount Pleasant groups. Are we proactively pushing the links out there to get kids signed up, or what's the strategy?
So yes and no. So we have a newsletter capability now, but some of that stuff is like opt-in, so we have to be very careful about that. So we have to capitalize on like the cities and like communications or community relations newsletters to be able to send some of that information out. So it's not really like targeted in specific. So what we've been doing is part of the data is registering as many kids as members in our rec desk system, because we do send it out that way.
Yeah.
So so we can start pushing it out and making sure that they get it through rec desk. There's a portion on our website that we're going to try to do that automatically. It's just identifying the appropriate tool to be able to do that works with our city systems. So like a MailChimp or something like that would be an example of that. But we always have to take an extra layer of security, making sure that we are collecting the right information that people can opt in. So that's simultaneously happening as well. So
and are we asking the neighborhood groups to send it out to their lists? Can we do that, I guess?
yes, we can. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think that'd be helpful. I think a lot of people do pay attention to their neighborhood listservs, and so when you get an email on that.
When we get flyers, we drop them off to the schools. So
Yeah, that's
everybody
important.
knows a lot
Yeah.
about voting for our particular.
Yeah.
We get, through the PPSD app, we get messages all the time.
Yeah.
So I wonder if those can be communicated. Maybe, no.
I'd be trying. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
It just takes a long time.
Yeah.
Like sometimes, the last time we did that, I think was for soccer, and we sent it 3 weeks ahead of time, and it got out 2 weeks after we started.
Oh, no, okay.
Yeah. So like I sometimes I don't control that portion of
Yeah.
it. So I'm working on that to make sure that we do that, because you have to like go through a whole process to even get something that you send out approved for them. Some of the schools are easier.
Yeah.
So like, for example, tomorrow night, we've already had some rec centers go to like the open houses and back to school events, and we're doing that stuff too. So it's a combination of things always, right, that are happening. And kind of what you're seeing like in front of you, like you guys all got a sticker that I know is gonna be either on your car or, you know, you see what I'm saying? So like, and a pen. So we really stepped up our like trade show, and I'll let Ceci kind of talk about like what she's doing with that. But for the sake of time, I'll go into the,
Well,
Oh, my
so
bad.
my other question, so on basketball, obviously there's the youth development league, which is great, but when do we open up registration for the 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14?
it'll be in November. Beginning of November is
So
when,
we start in
Yeah.
January. first
yeah, so it'll give us 2
January,
months, yeah.
forward.
It'll give us 2 months to be able to do that. So
So
open
will the
up,
developmental league go straight through, or is that gonna stop?
it's gonna,
Before the other leagues?
it's gonna stop, it's gonna be like, it's gonna overlap into the registration for the older basketball, yeah. We started earlier because,
And I'm sorry, and just one other question,
Yeah.
the youth, is that, it's co-ed, right? Youth
Yes.
development league,
Yeah.
Co-ed,
yeah,
okay.
and this start date of 10/26 is interesting because that's when most of the football leagues are coming to an end as well.
Right.
So we timed that perfectly to be able to
Yeah.
get them to come in, and then, yeah, so it's actually really cool to be able to get that done. So we'll see. I mean, if it doesn't work as well, then, you know, we'll adjust next year, but I think this will be a better program.
Yeah, and then as we go into regular basketball, the older teams.
Mhm.
Obviously we'll do boys and girls teams, right, separate teams?
Yeah.
Okay, so we have, you know, we talked about this a little bit more next month. I think one of the things we've talked about is obviously is getting the girls league more, you know, obviously better attended, making sure that each rec center does in fact have a girls team represented, or at least provides that opportunity. So I think next meeting we'll probably want to jump into that a little bit.
Yeah, we've already started, so they can tell you, we had a pretty good meeting about like just some goals and some metrics to hit. That involve full participation, full league participation, and, you know, membership and how to do that and where we're starting. So we've already kind of started that, those conversations and talks, so. I think that's just one of the first steps from last year, is we said we're gonna start like 2 to 3 months early, and we already have, and that's kind of where, you know, even starting the youth development league early can begin our marketing process for the next league too.
Yeah. Yeah, okay, great. And maybe questions on basketball before we move on to other things. All right,
There's also an interesting partnership happening between a few elected officials and the rec center. I don't know if the director wants to speak on it a little bit.
yeah, you better be
Which
careful.
one, the Halloween?
You're gonna be repping that, so.
Oh, no, oh my God, is this Friday?
Yeah.
Oh, man, at community court? Oh, yeah, that is, I'm sorry. I hope she doesn't get mad at me. Yeah, we actually have a really, wow. So Kennedy is hosting, Kennedy Rec Center is hosting on the 27th, a basketball game between elected officials and members of the Recreation Center, which the goal is to have another way to interact and bring a voice to, you know, young people and people that would otherwise not go to like a council person's meeting or other avenues to, you know, to be engaged. So and then we have a guest referee, right? Oh, yes, we have a guest referee. So our chair is gonna guest referee the game. I've heard he's gonna be fair. So.
I'm looking at the Harlem Globetrotters.
So, yeah, so that's actually gonna be cool. Now, what you guys don't know, well, maybe you know, it's gonna happen in every rec center. So we actually did the calendar out until like next June, I believe. So you'll be seeing that and advertised, so different communities can, you know, partake and you know, have a chance to, you know, engage with their elected officials that way. So it's gonna be cool.
It's
Yeah.
a nice choice of words, more like to whoop on them.
I mean, hey, you know, I think that's gonna. Oh, that's Friday night. If anyone's interested, there'll be food afterwards, and so anyone's welcome to come. But it'll be at Kennedy Rec Center.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's actually fun. I can't wait for that.
Bob told me he's got my black and white striped shirt.
Do you have one?
I don't have.
Okay. I guess you can have some. That'll actually be fun.
But you get the Jack-O-Lantern Spectacular event coming out.
Yeah, so we're partnering with the zoo. We have we have two things, or the way this is happening is, every year they do like a test to make sure that their entire facility is ready for that many people coming through. And so they came to us to see if we could come and help them with that, and then everyone that's going is getting like a free ticket to come back again. So we're doing that, so we haven't done that before, so that's gonna be a great thing. I think we're bringing 71 kids and about 18 adults that are going.
Nice.
Yeah, so that's gonna be pretty cool. And then we're doing Factory of Terror again, because all the kids always demand it, so we're gonna bring a bunch of kids to Factory of Terror, so that's gonna be like and these are all recreation wide things, so that's why I mentioned them. There's a ton of smaller events that happen. Like, I think you're doing a Halloween party, right? Yeah, so like there'll be Halloween party, right? So like there's gonna be a bunch of things that, that are going on throughout the
Do you need chaperones saying this stuff? Should we put the word out to the rec board?
So, yeah, I think we should. And then I think you guys should all come to like the city hall one too. Because you guys are collaborating this year, right?
Yeah.
On the Halloween party, yeah. So the city council and the mayor's office are collaborating on the Halloween party. So it's gonna be a lot of fun things in the summer. And so we're a huge part of that. We take a bunch of kids that to city hall. So it's gonna be a lot of fun. So looking forward to it. And it's obviously Hispanic Heritage, right, month, and so we're gonna be working on that, and Ceci's gonna be working on that, like how we can be more actively involved and working on expanding our reach into the community. So yeah, it's just a lot that's
It's
gonna.
actually in Spanish and
Yeah.
English. Yes. Yeah.
Well, exciting that we're adding new programming and bowling. Oh, sorry.
I want to add a little thing for the jack-o'-lanterns. I have a friend and family that never went to the Roger Williams Zoo. So leave it in that corner and the Roger Williams isn't here. He never had a good time. So I invited him for that day because I have some tickets. So enjoy. And she's coming all the time when you have more.
Yeah.
When you have more, because she having a good time. I like that the way he's putting all that and you can sit down. And also I asked to see if we have any discount for the pictures for memories. So we have a discount, so we give it a discount. We have a very good one. So.
Yeah, and actually Ceci is on what's the name of the committee that?
Yeah, it's
With
their
Roger Williams.
community engagement. It's like they've been doing like a series over the summer, 3 series of just asking community members to come in and give their voice of different ways that the zoo can engage with the broader Providence world community. And so I've been attending at least 2 of those events since being onboarded, and we've been hearing a lot of voices, diverse voices in the room of different programming that they want to see. The meetings are hosted in English and Spanish. They provide childcare during the meetings, they provide transportation, they provide food. And so basically they've done a lot on their end to make sure that it reaches everyone that needs to be there and that all the voices are represented. And so as you were mentioning, like a lot of people in the city of Providence don't know that the zoo is located like right there in their backyard. And so one thing that the zoo has been doing is that everyone that attends these focus group meetings, I would say, they give them 4 tickets to come to the zoo again and visit with their families. And so that's been a great opportunity for the city as a whole to be able to participate, be able to do that outreach, but also engage in different capacities.
Yeah, so it led to that opportunity, so it was really cool. So some department updates, and I know in other meetings, we're gonna get to the specifics of this, but we've been continuing to work on the website. We ran the golf tournament completely through our website this year, so that was cool. Rec Desk program registration, we're working on making sure that it stays within our ecosystem, so it'll be a lot easier to register. So if you click on a program, it's not gonna redirect you, it'll keep you there, and then once we have that happening, you'll be able to search for programming, you'll be able to like use drop-down boxes and stuff like that. I've been told that the end of this month, which is next week, that will be available, so let's cross our fingers. And we are working on making it easier to give us money. So we're trying to make that easier. We piloted something, and David, who works on all these special projects. So by the way, everything that's like new, David does, and like helps out. So it's always good to have him here. But We piloted our credit card and debit card POS system at the golf tournament, and it led to like an additional 3,000 like in an hour just by being able to do that. So we're going to be working on that and having a much better POS system on our website, which is going to lead into something that we have talked about, which is our merchandise store. What we've been waiting on is just
the merch.
yeah, I mean, it's as soon as we have the way to actually do it, it's been very difficult to find a acceptable POS system that would allow us to, you know, actually sell things and make it easy for the consumer. So that's actually happening. We have our meeting coming up soon with that vendor. And then our marketing and outreach, we've been continuing to do more on social media and continue to reach more folks. So that's, you know, a lot of what we talked about last year, but it's been working. So we're getting more, you know, views, participation. We started new leagues. We're, you know, doing another new league. I mean, I think this in a year and a half, that's 3 new leagues. So the bowling, the adult summer basketball, and the soccer league. And so we're going to try to continue expanding, but it's, you know, kind of helpful when, you know, people know about it and like what we're doing. So it ends up being pretty cool, which kind of, you know, leads into community engagement. And so it was always the plan to have folks working on community engagement in the Department of Recreation, how do we partner with folks. And so I'm really happy to introduce Ceci Granados again, because she is working in the Elmwood Community Center and focusing on our community engagement. And you can already kind of see the benefits of her work already. Like it's, you know, building our ability to engage the community, but I'll kind of just let her talk about some of the things that she's been doing briefly and what that's going to lead to.
Yeah, so a few outreach strategies that I've been doing in the last 3 months, I would say. In terms of that community engagement, we've been broadening our network of CBOs that we participate or network with. And so I've been compiling a list of 150 organizations across the state of Providence and the surrounding state of Rhode Island that will be working with the CPF brand, but also across all our recreation departments. Along with that, we've been collecting data. So we've been going to a lot of outreach events, tabling, having representation of the rec department, helping our content media manager with the creation of different flyers to make sure that the community is well aware. One thing that I've noticed in a lot of these outreach and events that I've been attending, specifically within our Latino Hispanic community, is that they didn't know that we had these many recreation centers across the state of Providence. And specifically since a lot of the, you know, content hasn't really been catered in Spanish, it was really difficult for them to engage. And so that's something that, you know, along with everyone else in our team, like really strongly putting forth this year and coming into the next year. And then in addition to that, a few of the events that I've attended in those, you know, outreaching strategies has been the Roger Williams Zoo co-design project, which I mentioned. They had 2 series in which I attended in August. I've been going to events with the Providence Community Health Center in Olneyville, back to school events. I've been partnering with charter schools in the area. So Nuestro Mundo is one of those schools, along with partnering with the WDC Housing Opportunities Corporation, going to their back to school events, administering surveys. And right now we're in the process of hopefully creating a in-person event where we actually get these community voices more in a qualitative form. A lot of these surveys have been just, you know, simple multiple choice questions that we can have folks complete in less than 2 minutes, given that, you know, attention spans are not that big when it comes to big outreach events where you're tabling. And so as Director Grace mentioned, we're currently facilitating and creating different things that we can give out to have people come to us, having people that are multilingual at the table, being able to speak to different people, different communities, having that representation. So that's a little bit more of the work that I've been doing. I don't know if I missed anything.
I mean, I think there's another portion to it, which is the CPF grant, which we mentioned in former meetings, but we've started a community outreach and engagement on that, specifically in health education and workforce development. And so, you know, what we mentioned earlier about all the, you know, kids that we employ during the summer and then municipal exploration and what that looks like. We actually have an intern starting from PCTA in about a week. and he's gonna be working, and he's in the graphic design department there. He's gonna be working with our team. And so he'll be doing about 10 hours a week on producing content and, you know, introducing a career to him that he's currently working on as part of, you know, his curriculum and his vocation. So that's where this was kind of all going. So I'm really proud about that because those kids at PCTA, it's like if you go there, it's like a print shop and like we don't utilize it. So really good opportunity where you can kind of see that start from just like thinking about it. And then we're actually here and put in the programs, and we're gonna have someone pilot what it looks like to, you know, work in a city department through our department to get a greater opportunity. So that's happening as well. So.
Yeah, just to mention, like, it's so important to be collaborating with all these different nonprofits and just community-based organizations, because then we can bring it back to our rec centers.
Totally. And when you're tabling, Ceci, are you asking people to sign up on like an email list or anything like that? Are we able to capture people's data as they come to the table? And like, I always find with these things that it's great to be out there and giving information, but it's probably even a lot better to be proactive in getting
Yes.
information from people. So that way, like a lot of people will take a flyer and then go home and not
Mhm.
go to the website. But if you take down their information, add them to the email list at the table, then they're already in for our system and we can include them in our blast emails.
Yeah, so we haven't necessarily done like an email list to that extent, but what I have been doing is administering these surveys that do collect their phone numbers, their emails,
Okay.
asks them, how do you want to continue engaging with us?
Yeah.
And the way I've been doing is like, I have a flyer printed of the QR code.
Yeah.
I've also been bringing tablets, just in case, you know, people don't have phones or
Yeah.
can't scan it. Here's a tablet, here's my laptop, you can scan it,
That's
you
great.
can fill that out in 2 minutes. But also mostly conversing with people, making sure that they're aware that one thing is that the Jocelyn Resiliency Hub is currently doing programming that is pretty active right now, and a lot of people are not aware of it. So making sure that they're aware of that, making sure that they're aware of what the, you know, vision is for both the Davy Lopes Recreation Center, but also the Elmwood Community Center, and just making sure they're in the loop of all the programming that's going to be happening.
Yeah. Yeah, and so Ceci, are you doing stuff citywide or just for Davy Lopes and Elmwood?
So in terms of the outreaching events that I've been going to, they're all citywide. Yeah.
Okay, so if we have events that come up to us through our community or whatever that we think it might make sense to have a recreation presence on the director, we should send it to you guys.
Yeah.
Table ad
Yeah.
or see what's available.
Mhm.
Okay,
Yeah, and probably we're gonna build a team to kind of do that too. So by the end of this year, we'll have it, you know, at least 3 people that we know can be activated to be able to do that. And then continuing with it is, we kind of mentioned, and Carolyn and Linda mentioned how you get out in the community.
Yeah.
But even in our own department, sometimes it's difficult, like how do you get an event done? How do you, like who do you go to? So, last
One
week.
thing I would say too is I know a lot of members of the council have their board meetings on a
Mhm.
regular
Yes.
basis.
So I've been
And so I think
attending,
going to
yeah.
present at those actually is a really good idea.
October 21st, 6 p.m., Georgia West Elementary.
I'll make sure to be there.
But yeah, I mean, I think that's important. We introduced a 5-step program to like how you actually create an idea and a program in your center, which will utilize every single thing that we talked about today. Where do you go if you need a custom form or program, right? Where do you go if you need a community-based organization help? Who do you go to if you need sponsorship, equipment, resources? How do you get the marketing done, right? And so that's kind of the next step internally of how every program and event that we have should run through this process so that everyone knows about it. So.
And Carolyn and Linda, you feel like that will be helpful? You guys think that's good stuff to have?
Yeah, it's definitely good stuff. We kind of, you know, because we do a lot of community engagement, so we're kind of like right there, like almost following those same steps, so.
Yeah, most people are doing 3 of them already.
Yeah.
And so like the other one could be, oh, I didn't even know I could do that, right? So,
Yeah.
like, especially the results. Like,
Well, I think you got to know that you have resources, people to help you out with some of this stuff too is probably
Yeah.
good. You need a flyer.
Mhm.
Well, compost.
Only yeah. I hear so many things for the youth, but not I hearing anything for the elderly person or some, you know, for the community can be, you know, together. Grandma, going, watching the kids play basketball, having any type of program you have in mind?
someone has a meeting tomorrow You have a meeting tomorrow?
I do have a meeting tomorrow with, someone from City Hall that they're currently doing a lot of intergenerational programming. So when we're thinking of these 3 different community hubs, right? The Jocelyn Resiliency Hub, Elmwood Community Center, and Davy Lopes. We're truly looking at ways we can implement those intergenerational programming. Especially Elmwood, since it's not connected to the recreation department right now, and it's in itself just an empty building. So there's a lot that we can bring in that's intergenerational. So one of those things could be a community kitchen, right? There's a working kitchen at Elmwood. Yeah. So it's not furnished yet. It's still in the process of everything being, renovated, but there's a kitchen there that hopefully we can bring programming like that, and other things in that area.
And at one of our meetings, we met Sue, who is spearheading with Lisa Cardozo, that age-friendly task force for Providence. So Ceci attended that meeting and is going to be expanding on that relationship. So that's what our meeting is about tomorrow.
Well, I know you touched on the website briefly, but I think maybe at the next meeting, we can dive into it a little bit more and, I know you're still working on it, get a full briefing on,
Yeah, I think like if everything gets done on the 30th, that I've been told, the 30th, I just want to make sure it's on record. I'm like putting the pressure on. Then it would be a better time to kind of go through it once it's up and running. So
good, okay. Does anybody else have any questions or comments or concerns or anything they want to express before we move into public comment? All right,
Thank you guys for your work.
thank you as always. Is there anybody from the public who would like to give any comment? Is anybody in the room, but. That's good. Future agenda items we talked about already, the website, that's something that we want to talk about, I think, periodically until we think it's in a good place, but obviously with basketball season coming up, we want to be sure to capitalize on online registration system, I think, as much as we possibly can. Councilwoman, you brought up more senior programming and adult programming. I think that's one of those types of things. Is there anything else as we gear up for our work now that the summer's over, the next couple of months that anybody wants to bring up as a topic and agenda item?
I think at some point in the next few months, we need to start talking about budget failures, so we're not waiting until next year.
With that, I will entertain a motion to adjourn. So moved. Thank you. All in favor? Opposed? Thank you guys. Always, and before we end, I always have to thank our magnificent clerks for the travel show. And
Yeah.
getting outside the city hall.